Hello and welcome back to Sister Wives Underground. If you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a big thumbs up. You won't want to miss the emotional rollercoaster that we're about to dissect. Cody Brown and Mary Brown called it quits after 32 years of marriage in 2022. However, in an unexpected turn of events, the two recently shared a moment so intimate and so not expected that fans are left reeling. Was it closure or something else? Let's go back in time. Mary was Cody's first wife and the cornerstone of what evolved into their polygamous family unit. She assisted in bringing Christine and Janelle on board, as well as eventually Robin. During the early years, Mary talked about how Cody was charming, captivating, a man who could light up a room. But behind the smiles, things started to crack. From Mary's tragic fertility issues to the notoriety of the 2015 catfishing debacle, their union was pummeled by storm after storm. Mix in Cody's changing affections, and intimacy slowly dissipated, ultimately disappearing for over a decade before they finally broke up. But here's the twist. In 2022, Cody openly declared that he no longer thought of Mary as his wife. That instant broke what was left of their tenuous relationship. For Mary, the words were crushing. She went into herself, opting for self-healing rather than anger. Then, in 2024, her church gave her something great: spiritual release. Nevertheless, closure proved elusive. Mary disputed Cody's account of things, resisting the description that their marriage was doomed from the beginning. Cody, for his part, seemed to reshape their past, dwelling on his better relationships with his other ex-wives. And then, season 19. In perhaps the most surprising moment of the season, Cody assisted Mary in moving to Utah. It was uncomfortable, emotional, intimate, and yet it uncovered something nobody could see coming. There was still a warmth between them. Not that romantic, but genuine. Cody even let out a jaw-dropping comment. He now has Mary as his favorite ex-wife, a comment that fanned the flames for Janelle and Christine, fueling resentment and jealousy in the other former wives. Let's not forget, Mary and Cody's story began in April 1990 when she was just 19 and Cody was 22. It started as a spiritual partnership rooted in deep faith. They welcomed one daughter together. But as years passed, Mary's inability to have more children added weight to the cracks already forming. Then came 2015, the year everything changed. Mary's emotional entanglement with a catfisher turned her life upside down. Trust was broken, distance grew, and the marriage slowly withered until its final breath in 2022. Yet season 19 taught us that not all endings are bitter. See affection and nuance. So what does that leave them now? Are they friendly exes, or is there still a stronger connection lingering between the cracks of what once was? One thing for sure, Mary lost a husband, but gained something far stronger: herself. But not everyone was embracing Cody's favorite ex-wife quip. In a moving confession, Janelle confessed she had been hurt by the description, feeling that her own long-term relationship with Cody had been belittled. Christine, however, dismissed the remark completely, referring to it as just another one of Cody's efforts to rewrite history. And honestly, she's too busy living well to bother, because while Mary and Cody had shared that weird semi-intimate moment during the move, the one that had fans abuzz, Christine was writing an entirely new chapter of her life. Married to David Woolley, and happily so, she has left the emotional drama in the past. Let's discuss that awkward but somehow tender moment between Cody and Mary in season 19. While assisting her in packing up and relocating from Arizona to Utah, the two had a brief and surprisingly flirtatious moment. Mary unintentionally backed into Cody, bumping into him as she loaded things into the moving truck. It was playful, perhaps even flirty. Cody, in a confessional, went a step further, saying the moment felt sexual, and that he immediately worried it might be disrespectful to Robin. Mary, on the other hand, said it plainly. That was the closest I've been to him in years." That single comment carried a wave of emotion, nostalgia, sorrow, maybe even longing. Cody subsequently admitted that he wanted Mary to have revealed this aspect of her personality when they were married. They had such a great day out together, he said, and it made him miss out on what could have been. But here's reality. Reconciliation is not going to happen. The wounds are deep. Even today, friendliness notwithstanding, Mary and Cody's relationship was shattered by emotional distance, unmet desires, and, candidly, Cody's increasing love for Robin. As late as 2022, he revealed he didn't feel married to Mary anymore. That absence of emotional and physical closeness had endured for more than a decade. And whereas Cody looks back on their history with a sort of nostalgic sorrow, Mary has marched on in the other direction. Since her spiritual release in 2024, she's taken to healing, autonomy, and personal development. Would they ever reunite? Don't count on it. The Sister Wives cast, once a family under one roof, now treads individual, divergent paths. And Christine Brown. She's making sure that her narrative now has a fresh, empowering conclusion. Following her breakup with Cody, Christine is glowing. And nothing says, "I've moved on," like a romantic European vacation with the love of your life. Christine's social media has become a highlight reel of happiness, bright smiles, adventure. Now 52, Christine has started anew. Once Cody's third wife in a family that made her feel invisible, she's now living a love story she never dreamed. Even though she was raised in polygamy, she always fought sharing a husband. And now, she doesn't have to. Her romance with David took off swiftly and gorgeous. Their love story was a prime element of Sister Wives Season 19, featuring a softer, stronger Christine, one who is finally seen, heard and loved. It's not merely that she met a new man, she discovered a new woman. Confident, glowing, liberated. Christine's smile tells it all. She's never been more contented. Following her posting of gorgeous photos of her trip to Europe, followers got to see firsthand what post-polygamy life is like. Freedom, happiness and love on her own terms. From sister wife to solo sensation, Christine has totally rewritten her narrative. Born into a polygamous household, Christine was once an eager believer in the plural marriage lifestyle. She became Cody's third wife in 1994 and valued the strong sense of family. At least at first, but over time something shifted. Cody's attention was clearly centered on his fourth wife, Robin. And Christine, she felt forgotten. After nearly 3 decades in a spiritual marriage, she made a bold decision. Christine left. She moved away, packed her belongings, and began anew, pursuing not only happiness but respect, love, and equality. She told the world that she was finished with plural marriage. Her future would be monogamous, one man, one heart, one love. And that's precisely what she found. Christine's own journey of heartbreak and healing took her into the world of online dating, where she connected with David Woolley, the man who would alter her life. Their romance unfolded rapidly, ending in a stunning wedding in 2023 that was the subject of a Sister Wives wedding special. It wasn't so much a new start for Christine, it was a triumph. David admired her, loved her, and honored her history without fearing it. He was aware of her experience with polygamy, but he gave her something Cody could never really do. An alliance based on equilibrium, closeness, and fidelity. And then there was the trip, a love affair through Europe. Christine posted glimpses on Instagram, Frankfurt, Cologne, Berlin, each one beaming with happiness. Her caption spoke volumes. It's been an amazing trip. This wasn't a holiday, this was a statement. Christine has thrived since her departure from Cody. She's established a new lifestyle in Utah, undergone personal transformation, and established herself as a lifestyle influencer. Joining forces with health company Plexus, she's even transformed her physical body, losing 40 pounds and restoring her energy. Her social media life testifies to this glow-up. Confidence, clarity, and contentment emanate from each update. From emotional distress to emotional victory, Christine's saga is nothing less than inspiring. And here's the reality. The best thing that ever happened to Christine Brown was ditching Cody. Christine's personal transformation didn't merely alter her emotionally, it catapulted her professionally. Capitalizing on her visibility from Sister Wives, she established a strong brand based on authenticity, empowerment, and health. As her social following increased, Christine was among the leading proponents of health brand Plexus. Her recipe videos, inspirational posts, and sneak peeks into her new life resonated with women everywhere, particularly those who felt stuck or overlooked in unbalanced relationships. And she didn't rest on her laurels. Following their marriage to David Woolley, the couple ventured deeper into their financial empire through an expansion of their Airbnb operations, developing intimate, tasteful accommodations reflecting the warmth and personality of Christine. She even wrote a book highlighting the lessons of her life and emotional growth from polygamy to personal power. For anyone still wondering whether or not she made the right choice to leave Cody, the answer is in every smile, every success, and every moment of peace she now shares online. Let's not forget, Christine was once the pillar of a large, high-drama plural marriage. For decades, she was the faithful wife in a family system based on Cody's vision for family and faith. Their early years were passionate and optimistic, constructed on shared dreams, spiritual beliefs, and a desire for a big family. But as the years went by and more wives were brought in, the emotional basis began to erode. What was initially a cohesive front fell under stress due to favoritism, unmet needs, and increasing emotional distance. Infertility issues crept into their marriage at an early stage, bringing with it secret heartache. Though they were blessed with one kid, being unable to expand their family brought tension behind the scenes. And then there was the scandal, that notorious catfishing affair that caught fans off guard and left Christine emotionally wrecked. That deception was a turning point. It revealed the profound emotional chasm between her and Cody, a chasm that no prayer, patience, and performance could bridge. By the time Robin was Cody's undisputed favorite, Christine's role within the family was almost ceremonial. Their religious marriage didn't end in a televised blowout. There were no nasty court fights, no on-air shouting matches. Instead, as was the case with many spiritual marriages, it quietly collapsed. Their religious leaders officiated a symbolic release for Christine, a last act of closure from a long broken bond. And while the finish came in an orderly fashion, the hurt had already succeeded. Christine had lived more than 30 years in a polygamous marriage, threaded into a tangled tapestry of sister wives and a husband who, somewhere in the process, ceased to notice her. Now, though, she notices. From heartbreak to healing, from spiritual formalism to emotional liberation, Christine has emerged as a beacon of strength for women everywhere who have the courage to reclaim their joy. There had been hints for years that the chapter was closed quietly, but Christine had left the door ajar, hoping for change that never arrived. When their marriage finally dissolved, she had every right to leave with bitterness, to shut down, to sever. But she didn't. Christine did something that was very brave instead. She embraced change. She turned her energy inward, preferring personal change to the possibility of romantic reconciliation. The life she had established on loyalty and shared faith had given way to something so much stronger, a life based on self-respect. Of course, it wasn't simple. When a relationship lasts for decades, its dissolution is never easy. There were moments of anguish, silent sorrow, and sleepless nights, but in the loss, Christine had peace, a subtle, surprising sort of clarity. And then, fate brought its hand into play. As she relocated to a different state and a different time of life, the same man who had once waved her off got back into the picture, not with a showy gesture, but with boxes. Cody was helping her move. He was making small talk. He was reminiscing. He was placing his hand on the small of her back to stabilize her when she bumped into him by mistake while stacking furniture. For one fleeting moment, the years between them unfolded into a single moment of silence. No shouting, no sobbing, just two individuals with a flicker of familiarity. Later, both would recount the moment, but through very different lenses. Christine would smirk and say, "That was the closest we'd been in years." Cody, meanwhile, seemed uneasy, half embarrassed, half nostalgic. He admitted that the exchange had felt oddly personal, perhaps too personal. Had it been wrong to laugh once more together, to experience a spark of nearness for an instant? Cody was concerned about what it would appear like to Robin, his newly monogamous girlfriend, but he could not deny the sensations he had experienced. The woman he had psychologically put in a back burner for years had resurfaced in high definition, witty, colourful, resilient. It discombobulated him. But Christine knew better. She had her answer. Yes, the encounter was polite, even gentle, but it was no new start. It was a lingering echo of something that had long ago been, a ghost of a marriage. Christine was grateful for the quiet they'd discovered in friendship, but she had no illusions about the future. The scars went deep, being benched, starving for emotion, invisible for years. These weren't wounds that time itself could mend, and definitely not with the guy who had kept on choosing someone else over and over. She was over it, completely, at last, and she wasn't looking back. The agony of desertion and the bitter taste of public rejection had once burdened her, but in the wake of all that heartache, Christine realized something strong. She knew who she was now, and knowing that meant never again going back to a place where she wasn't noticed, appreciated, or loved the way she should be. Leaving that existence behind wasn't merely a departure from a marriage, it was a departure from a system that required her to shrink herself. Freed from it, she discovered meaning in new spaces, travel, friendships, self-pampering, and causes that aligned with her authentic values. For the first time in years, she smiled without effort, walked straighter, and moved through life with a peace she had long struggled to find in married life. At the same time, Cody kept narrating his side of their tale. He labelled their collapsed marriage as a mismatch from the start, asserting that their energy had never fully synchronized. But Christine was not that convinced. She remembered there being something genuine at one point. Their connection had been real. Incompatible was not what destroyed it. Neglect, emotional disconnection, and gradual erosion of trust were. She hadn't lost a partner. She'd lost a spiritual family, a community, and a vision of the future she'd once believed in. But with that loss, she gained clarity. Christine started to claim her story, not as a supporting character in someone else's narrative, but as the author of her own. There were no angry rants, no public meltdowns. Christine bore her heartache in silence, with dignity. She wore the scars and the lessons of one who had suffered heartbreak in secret. And when asked if she could ever see herself rebuilding something with her former boyfriend, her response was direct and unequivocal: no. That door, once left ajar for hope, was now shut tight. And yet, their last moments together weren't consumed with bitterness. They were courteous, even affectionate at moments. That counted, because respect doesn't have to come undone when love does. And just because a marriage disintegrates doesn't mean niceness has to disintegrate with it. Their tale was not of revenge or reconciliation. It was the story of two individuals who had once shared dreams, but ultimately drifted apart and found a way to heal by taking different roads. Ultimately, their stilted, sweet goodbye wasn't a flame reignited, it was a beacon of growth. A reminder that closure doesn't always present itself in sweeping speeches. Occasionally, it's discovered in a shared smile, a packing box, or a tender moment that simply reads, "We made it through." Because when you finally learn to choose yourself, even the most profound wounds can be the start of something magical. Yes, healing is possible. Christine Brown, who was diagnosed with being part of a complicated, spiritually polygamous home, has walked boldly into a bright new chapter of her existence. And this time around, it's not the drama that characterizes her, it's her growth. After years on reality TV as a wife in a multiple-wife marriage, Christine isn't grabbing headlines for scandal anymore. Instead, she's being hailed for her newfound clarity, for her quiet happiness, and for her amazing emotional makeover. Her recent travel across Europe, meticulously covered through smiling photographs and happy captions, was much more than a holiday. It was a declaration. Each photo whispered a profounder narrative of healing, of taking back her story, of rising. For years, Christine lived a world in which she was not her husband's sole companion. Born into polygamy, she had professed its beliefs, initially. She promised to live in a union founded upon faith, communal love, and the concept of an integrated spiritual family. But eventually, the